Hello and welcome to a new edition of Skiltron Meeting Folks. And tonight we have a friend of the band. We have been playing together. We are going to talk about all that. We should have had it before, but he was ill, so maybe he was going to talk about that. Please welcome Mr. Arkadius from Suidakra. Hello, Arkadius. Alles gut? Not bad. As good as possible at the moment. What about you? Okay, so that was about a little problem you have on your throat. Ah, okay, okay. I have bad information then. Oh, oh. Okay, all good now. Oh, okay, that's good to hear. So, are you in Hamburg right now, right? No. All right. Okay. So you have your rehearsal place there, but you don't live there. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I know the trains to Germany. They're very good, long distance and everything. So, how are things in Germany right now? I saw something. Yeah, people posting that.
Just imagine how the situation is with all the pandemic and stuff. We still have to deal with it here in Germany as well, like other countries too. And yeah, it's pretty hard. But
Okay, now
I think
people is watching is can listen to you. You know, I will be honest with what happened. I'm very brand new to all this hosting thing, and I'm operating at the same time and talking.
okay,
And
yes.
yes, I forgot to activate your microphone. So
Ah, really?
yes, sorry for that. Yeah, yeah. People actually let
Oh,
me
no
know, and I
problem.
and I just realized it. Sorry for that. You know, I'm a I consider myself a musician, not a hosting TV show guy. So still learning how
Yeah,
to do this.
that's
So I hope now it's okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's
exactly.
okay now.
Is it okay? Everybody can hear me now? But where do you see the comment section? Where is
uh,
it?
yeah, you have to go to
Which
actually our
channel?
website and you will
Ah,
see
yeah.
the yeah yeah I
Hi,
think
Aki, from your mate in Australia. Hey, Davey, my friend. Of course. It's Sasha. Ah, now I see the comments. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I have
Yes,
to
that
apologize myself
typical.
for that. So let's
Ah,
start again. Hi, Arkadius. How are you?
oh, what a surprise to see you, man. What do you think if you ask me about my surgery and the weather in Germany? That would
Yes,
be nice.
that would be a good idea because people actually didn't hear that.
Okay, so everybody that missed it just because of the technical issues. I was talking about we had to push our date a week later because I had a surgery with my wisdom teeth and it got infected. So that wasn't really funny, and I wasn't even able to talk. I was just taking painkillers all the time and was hoping for a quick recovery, which set in about 2 or 3 days ago. So, but right now I'm fine.
And let me guess something. Even the band is from Hamburg. You're not in Hamburg now. I just guess it.
No, no. Oh wow, man, you did your job.
You see?
No, the thing is, all the rest of the band lives in Hamburg, or at least in that area, and I'm the only one that lives in south part of Germany, which is Würzburg. It belongs to Bavaria, but the very north part of Bavaria. And oh, hola from Buenos Aires, hola.
Yo.
And um, yes, we have a rehearsal room in Hamburg, so usually it's not a problem for me because I take the train and it takes like about 3 hours because this is a very fast connection with the intercity train. So it's not a big issue for us, the distance.
Well, and I
And
have
when it comes to music, when it comes to music to exchange everything, we do everything, via internet, and I'm very used to it because we started working that way in 2006 when I moved from Düsseldorf to Würzburg. Then we had to find another way, of replacing that procedure of sitting together in a rehearsal room. And back then we started that way of working, so nothing really changed from that on.
I understand how it is working on distance. We are all from different
Yeah.
countries. So
Oh, really? Countries, even countries?
yeah, it's
Jeez.
even only two members of the band live in the same country.
Wow, man. So it's pretty fun to meet the guys
Yeah,
on
we
tour,
just
right? Like,
basically meet like before the tours and few days before to practice, and that's it.
oh,
And we
that's-
barely
that's-
see each other.
that's-
Actually, we don't see each other apart from when we are on tour.
Oh,
Well, me and the
man.
drummer,
So,
we see often because we live both in Finland, and I
okay.
go to his practice place sometimes, and we have some
Yeah.
jamming together there. But other than that, no, it's not possible, and even less now. Imagine. So that's classical,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
obvious question.
It's
Like,
less-
how are you dealing with all this? How is in Germany at the moment? How you've been doing all this time that we are like absolutely impossible to do anything?
it's to be honest, it all seems to be very weird, and it seems so unreal. I mean, the thing is, when this whole pandemic thing came up last year, I was like, okay, so we can deal with it, and um, it was okay for me because I knew, okay, this is gonna be for a short time period, and then we will see. But then things changed, and everything was canceled, and all the dates and tours were pushed to this year. And there was still hope from the local promoters that shows will be able to take place and stuff like that. And yeah, but the situation didn't change. It
Mm.
got even worse in Germany. So we had that peak of so many infected people, and then we had the lockdowns like everywhere else in Europe and in the world. And from that time on, I thought, okay, so I didn't spend much time about thinking of touring and stuff like that. I just focused my energy in writing new music and starting new projects. So that keeps my motivation with the music alive, because otherwise I have to be honest that I'm really, really happy to be in a position that I don't necessarily have to play shows to pay my bills because I have a regular job. Otherwise, I would get crazy, because
Mm.
when you have to do it because it's your daily, it's your work, it's your business, then it must be a very horrible situation. And I'm lucky that I pay my bills not with the music, but with my regular day job. And so, but of course I'm missing that. I'm missing that
Yeah,
atmosphere. And to be honest, right
we all
now
are.
at this moment, it seems so unreal that shows will take place somewhere sometime. I cannot even imagine because it feels like it's been gone forever. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I mean, I'll be talking about 1 year, but when I think of the last show we played, I don't even remember the last show what it was, because it wasn't really something very special. Because usually when you are in that whole process, like uh, making an album in the studio, releasing that album and playing the shows, it's every time the same thing. And of course you enjoy the moment, but
Yeah.
you still think of the future, and you're going on and going on. And right now what happened is the pandemic stopped everything. Oh, what is your regular day job? I will answer that, Davy,
Okay,
in a
cool.
few minutes. um, and then all of a sudden it all stopped, and I didn't have even the chance to enjoy the last show, uh, as the last show, so to say,
Yeah,
oh yeah, this is something special. But I'm sure we will go back to the normal
hopefully.
situation. I hope, and
We are all
I
waiting for
believe
that.
it. But the thing is, I also think that it won't be the same at the beginning. It will take longer than
Yeah,
we probably
absolutely.
expect, because the whole
It
situation
will be very
changed everything.
step by step,
Yeah.
like slowly steps.
Yes, and I mean, there's that mindset. I don't think that even people in the crowd will be
Yeah,
without any fear, standing,
absolutely. Yeah,
surrounded by thousands of people
we agree
without
on that.
any
Yeah,
thoughts or
yeah.
uh, you know.
Even if today they
So
tell
this
you,
is,
okay, it's over completely, still will be
yes,
weird. It will be a lot of
yeah, yeah.
mm, fear and
Yeah, you will be
uncertainty, and
concerned.
yeah,
Yes, exactly. So it will take time until we will fully recover
get
from
used to it
that.
again.
From
That's
exactly like it
yeah,
was before.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it
absolutely.
what I want to say, it won't be over with the sentence that any politician or scientist will say, okay, it's over.
Yeah,
So because the thing in your head and
yeah,
this whole social distancing, that was practiced for a long time right now,
mhm,
I think it still will have an after effect on 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 us, on
yeah.
the way that
At least for
on the way to,
some time
yeah,
it will be like that. Yeah,
yes,
until
yes,
you have the at least a sensation of feeling safe again, or feeling
exactly, yeah,
normal at all.
yeah, yeah, that's true. So what I read in the comments section
Mhm.
was the question for my friend from Australia, Davy Mills. We haven't met for a long time, but I still remember. I mean, we had a great time on a festival in Germany. What my here in Australia, we have like
Oh,
30 cases, and only about
not
50
bad at all.
people have died.
Yeah,
Oh Jesus, you're lucky
I know
bastards!
Australia and New Zealand, they have been doing like very well.
So what was their secret? I mean, was it a hard lockdown at the beginning,
Probably
or
the fact that they're an island and they lock down everything very early.
uh, I think it's a totally different situation when you a country like Germany, which is in the middle of
Yeah.
Europe and a
Oh yeah.
transit country, So yeah, but I'm happy for the Australian people. Cool. All right. What really old, and there are still many regulations. Okay. All right. So we'll see. I mean, I still used the time with the pandemic and lockdowns in a musical way, because I was able to come up with other stuff, other musical stuff, projects that I wasn't able to do before, because I was so much into touring and the Suidakra thing. So that was a really positive thing, right? Because I don't want to talk only about negative things. I'm
No,
a
of
very
course. Yeah.
positive person. So
Well, also,
yeah.
we were about to release a new album on the
Hmm.
beginning, or more like middle last year, and
Hmm.
obviously it got delayed. We couldn't work in the studio anymore. We couldn't finish the vocals at that time and everything.
Hmm.
So you know what happened always when you have an album done, and then sometime
Hmm.
after the release it's like, I should have done this way. Maybe if I have changed this way. Okay, so I had the chance to do all that so far. you know
Exactly.
the
That's a
music
cool
there
thing.
were like
Um,
completely done, and I was releasing it all the time saying, maybe this arrangement here can be like this now, like. So it was
exactly,
something
because you don't
positive
have
on that way.
this. Yeah, because you don't have that deadline and you have to
Hmm.
deliver. And there is that whole marketing thing, so you
Yeah,
have to deliver it so many months before the actual release and stuff like that.
yeah.
So, but this is also a very positive experience I've made with our album because funny fact is that with Suidakra, we decided to record this album on our own and then send the DIs to our studio to do the mix and the mastering before the decision was made before the pandemic came up. It had to do with the fact that we have regular jobs and we were not able, to spend 2 or 3 weeks in a studio anymore.
Mhm.
So we were looking for alternative way of recording, and so we started writing on the material. And then the pandemic came up, and we realized, oh, we've made the right decision for that time. So it was the same experience like you mentioned before. The cool thing is when you're in a studio, you have to play your riff, and sometimes the schedule is very tight, and okay, today I have to be done with the guitars, tomorrow are the vocals, so yeah, sometimes you don't have enough time to adhere a little bit, adhere a little bit, so you have to make compromises, and this is the thing with that situation. A good thing that you still have to come up with an idea like 3 months later and add it to your album and say, okay, this is now like 100% the way I
Yep.
wanted it to sound.
I'm sure anyway, even like with all this time able to make arrangement, changing scene, and still there will be things that once it's released, you will be, oh, yes,
Sure,
maybe.
sure,
But that's live for whatever you want to change.
yeah.
When you play the live versions, you can do it like that.
The thing is, if it wouldn't be that way, then you can quit making music because making music is always like it's like moving forward. You change your way of writing, you develop your
Yep, absolutely.
technical musical skills, and if you reach that point where you say, this is the perfect record and I cannot improve it anymore, this is
Well,
something I achieved and
for my
this is
point
the
of view,
limit.
what I always want to do
Yes.
is like being satisfied what I have done at that moment. Okay, so I know that what I could have done by then when it was
Mhm.
recorded, it was the best I could do. Maybe now I will do it
Yeah,
different, better, or
yeah,
just
different,
different
yeah.
or whatever.
Just
But
different,
at
yeah.
that moment, I know that that was the best I could do. So I'm satisfied with that.
You can compare it like pictures, when you
Mm,
look at pictures from the 90s, the way
yeah.
you were dressing, the way you were dressing, the way your haircut and stuff like that sounds from now on, looks from now on very stupid, but at that time it was the best you did, you thought you were the man.
Yep.
But and it's like, yeah, the album stands for time, and it captures the spirit of that time,
Yep.
in a musical
Exactly.
way. Also with the band members and the experiences you share on tour or in the studio. It's, looking back on my albums, it's like looking in a family portrait. You listen to the music and you feel like you travel back in time and you remember so many stories, not only the
Absolutely.
musical
That's what
thing.
I was gonna say. Not only the music, or
Yes,
by reading the
yes,
lyrics, maybe you can see, okay, this is how I felt at that moment, and maybe right now I wouldn't write a lyric like that, but that was
yeah,
reflecting what I was feeling at that time.
exactly. And
Yeah.
what you experience is flashbacks, from that time. And sometimes, feelings come up. You don't even remember you had that feelings so it's pretty cool thing with music. That's what I love about music,
And
because it transports feelings and memories, whether it's happy, sad, or angry, or
uh,
everything that belongs to a personality.
and that's why we can. I'm sure we agree that we cannot wait to going back to playing live.
Yeah, but let me ask you something.
Yes.
don't you think it's going to be strange, the first show
Yeah,
after the
absolutely,
pandemic? Because
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
my fear is, um I mean, I play a lot of shows, and still remember how it feels like being on stage, but my fear is like standing there and being much more nervous than I was in the past, and making
and what I'm
stupid
guessing is that
decisions or whatever,
there's many chances that at least the first show they are going to be with the people just sitting or standing, probably.
yeah,
So
which also might be strange.
I mean, we don't know, but it might be like a big possibility that it's gonna be like that, at least at the beginning.
Hmm.
Still,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah, there were some at the beginning of the pandemic.
yeah, like
I
with
mean,
those
there
individual
were like few,
boxes.
yes,
Uh,
there were like one or two festivals with limited
yeah, it's
uh, amount of people, and they were all
like
had
private
this
balconies or
distance.
something like that.
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, weird.
It was strange.
Well, this guy that he was
Yeah.
uh, speaking from messaging from Australia, I think it was Australia or New Zealand, that they had a big festival with no restriction, people standing and no social distance. It was like 20,000 people not long ago.
Really?
Yep,
Wow,
that
man.
happened
And it
actually.
worked.
Yep,
Oh, we have a comment from Japan. Our
yep,
island, Japan, not good situation. Infected people
yeah,
are, yeah, Japan. I remember Japan. You probably
yeah.
do as well,
That
right?
was one of the points that we are going to go back. It was a, well, we should tell people that our first time Skiltron playing in Japan, it was with Suidakra and also Equilibrium.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember
and
that.
it was like it wasn't your first time. You've been there before that time.
Yes, Japan. It wasn't the first time that we were in China. We played there two times before. But Japan, it was the first time. Yeah,
Ah, that was your first
it
time
was.
also.
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
okay.
We had releases. We had releases over
Yeah,
there, but there was always that struggle, that playing in Japan. With, I don't know, it's always an expensive thing.
yeah,
So it's not easy, to say, okay, let's just fly over and play a show. So,
yeah,
and things came together right, on this in
yeah.
2017.
It was, yeah. It was
And
March
so
17th.
I was probably as much excited as you were, because it was
No,
also
yeah,
the
it was
same
great
situation.
memories. It was like very good gigs. Osaka and Tokyo.
Oh
Remember like
yeah,
that very
and
well.
very and very good food. I loved the food over there. It's the first time I had real Japanese food, because we have some restaurants over here in Germany, but it's not the same,
You get the
And
real deal
the food is something I really enjoyed. Yeah,
there.
the real deal. And but the shows, talking about the shows, yeah, they were like, I was blown away
Yeah,
because I wasn't expecting that it's gonna be that much crowded. I mean, you always hope for, a full packed venue or location, but the shows were awesome, and the people were so much into it. Because the funny thing is that Japanese, when you meet them on the street, just
they're
passing by, they
kind of
just
shy
seems
and
to be
no.
like
Thing is that
shy,
I
polite.
they are
And
like very respectful. That's what they are.
yeah,
Very
exactly. And on
respectful.
on the shows, the totally opposite.
Yeah, they
They
go
were like,
crazy.
wow, going crazy, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, remember. Um, what I was gonna ask about the one of the questions that I was gonna what wanted to ask, because always interviews or people messaging here, they are always ask me, or to the band in general, like how it is like to write for music including Scottish Highland bagpipes. And
Mhm.
I know you don't have it. You don't have it as a permanent instrument, but you had a like a regular bagpiper and some shows and many songs that you
Yes.
include some.
Sometimes.
So it's how is
Mhm.
the now I'm asking to you, how is the process to you? How do you feel writing for bagpipes or including bagpipe segments on your music? Because
Uh,
people last time people was asking, and somebody was asking me that, and I said that actually when I first wanted to write stuff for bagpipes, I didn't know much about the scales and everything. And when I got to know, like, it's a very limited instrument when it
Yes,
comes
it is. Yeah.
to the scales. It's just a B flat
Yep.
mixolydian, and you have like not many notes to play. The scale is very short actually, so you need
I know.
to get to very into it to be able to do the whole thing. So how it works for you that?
The thing is, when we first started to add the bagpipes into our music, it was in 2005 on our Command to Charge album. At that time, I had no clue about that instrument. I mean, of course, I knew how it sounds like, and I
Yeah.
also wanted to put it in our sound because we had this folky influences in our music years before, but I had no idea about the scales or whatever or limitation. But the cool thing was that our piper, his name's Axel Römer, he's doing that for a living. So he studied that bagpipe playing in Scotland. So he's a very, not in a negative way, a nerd. You know, he
Yeah.
loves his instruments. He's really into it, and so I came up with melodies on the guitars that sounded like a fiddle for a bagpipe, and sent it to him, and then he just gave me a feedback. Okay, this is gonna work. This ain't gonna work, but I can just transcript it or just leave that note out because I'm not able to play it. So that was first of all my first experience with that instrument. After that, I knew about the scales. So when I was writing music, I had in my mind before I even wrote a note what my range is, where I can put melodies, and so it made things easier. That whole knowledge or the whole input I got from Axel, as a piper, that helped me a lot. And but usually my decision whether I put in some highlands or not is made by the music itself or the story concept, because we're always doing that concept stories, and the whole lyrical concept created by Chris Verwimp gives me that directions in the direction in which I have to compose to create the right atmosphere. And sometimes there are parts where I think right from the beginning, okay, this is the part I have to put or add the Scottish, the Highland bagpipes into that song, because it gives you right from the beginning that folk element, and you combine it with Irish, Scottish mythology. So it's pretty easy to create a certain atmosphere with bagpipes in metal music.
Yeah, but people have also it's an instrument that you have to be very careful about the when you mix it on the albums and that, because it's very high. The
Oh yeah. What I experience is, I mean, I had two experiences. Like, it's fucking loud, even in the rehearsal room when you have your in ears, it blows everything away. So you have to, turn off your amps and make them as loud as you can to hear what you're playing. And the other thing is that the bagpipes he was using, you have to be very careful with temperature,
yeah, absolutely.
because they
Yeah.
are very fast out of
Yeah.
tune.
Yeah.
If when it's a little bit warm or cold, so you have to
Actually,
be very careful.
you can never get perfect tuning on the bagpipe.
No,
It's
no,
impossible to get
no,
like like the guitar.
no.
You just put the tune on that. That's impossible.
Yeah,
So you always need to deal
yeah,
with some level of imperfection, but it's like something proper of the instrument. It's like what
yes,
makes the instrument. It's like that little imperfection that you can get. It's like it's part
yes,
of the instrument actually.
yeah, and it gives that special trademark of that instrument into the
Yep,
music.
absolutely.
This is something you cannot recreate
No,
with
for
any
in this new album
libraries. Or
we have done something
Mhm.
actually that we haven't done before, which is we have doubled the bagpipes. So there's a stereo
Okay,
played. So instead
yeah,
of only one leader, we have two stereo.
yeah,
And it was the bagpiper, he did a really great job because they are
hmm
almost perfect, but of course they are not
Wow.
perfectly equal because it's impossible. Once you
It is
play, you
definitely.
cannot play 100% equal. So there's some notes that they are not exactly identical, but it says like, okay, but that's part of the instrument, so it's gonna be like that.
Yes.
And it
It
sounds
it,
like
it
when you
gives
hear it sounds
us.
like that because it's a bagpipe
Yeah,
and it's like that.
it is.
Yeah.
It's that special character,
Hmm.
of that instrument that's
Yeah.
added to the music. Awesome. Yeah, but it's always a challenge, to record that instrument because it look to me, when I was watching like videos from bands that were adding bagpipes, for example, AC/DC, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll,
We
or
have played that one a
um,
few times actually with the
okay,
bagpipe as a
really,
as an
that's
encore
cool.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That was the first time I heard rock music combined with bagpipes, and that was wow. That sounds awesome. And then Korn did it as well
Yeah. Well,
with
I
their
don't
music.
really like that, but yeah, I know they did.
Um, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I'm not into whole stuff of
Yeah,
Korn. I like
I know
a
what you mean.
few songs, but when they started that intro and he came up on, it gives you right from the beginning on a very cool atmosphere,
I
and
tell you
it
when
sounds
it
cool.
was the first time I hear Highland bagpipes on a metal band. It was actually a
Mhm.
band from Germany, Subway to Sally.
Ah, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first
Sapotusali,
time.
yeah.
They haven't used it like a lot, maybe just a couple of songs.
Mhm.
But I remember there was in the 90s they have an album.
Mhm.
Um, actually, I think the album is 94 or 95. That's the name of the album. And the intro
Okay.
was a classical, like a traditional piece, like play like very fast with metal and everything.
Mhm.
And that was the first time I hear, like the first time I hear Scottish bagpipe on metal
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I have heard like other kind of old instruments, of course, before, but that was like,
Mhm.
oh wow,
Okay.
this really works nicely.
What about in Extremo? Have you
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
them before?
yeah, I hear them before, but they don't have Scottish Highland bagpipes. They have
Okay.
like those
Uh,
medieval bagpipes.
Yeah, there was medieval. Yeah,
What's that?
because I
Doodle
saw them.
sack, doodle sack.
Dudelsack, yeah, Dudelsack. That's a funny German word. It's like fetal sack. No, the thing is, I went in 1998 to that kind of reenactment medieval, you know, event in Germany, and
There's
I remember,
plenty actually.
yeah, they were playing there and selling their demo tapes. That was funny. And our guitarist just bought one of their tapes, and at that time nobody could even think of how big they're gonna be, in the future.
Yeah,
That's funny.
and in Germany it's like very popular all those kind of medieval events and everything. That you have that MPS tour, MPS this
Yeah.
like all over the city. Well, of course, not going on now, but
Yes.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
medieval fairs and like traditional events and things like that. It's very
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's funny thing. I mean, I was into that medieval thing, not very deep into the medieval scene, but I just liked it because I was listening to black metal at that time in the 90s. So, but usually since we started to do a lot of touring, and I hadn't found any time to go to that kind of events, so I kind of lost that medieval track. I went more into that Irish thing
yeah.
instead of medieval. It's not
And have you been
my part.
in all these places like the Highlands and Ireland and
Not the Highlands, but I was we played shows in Ireland and tours. And the funny fact was we have a song called "Stone of the Seven Suns,"
yeah, I know it.
which is and we were driving from one location to the other. I don't remember where it was. On the halfway between these two locations, we knew because we were just um, researching that on the internet before the tour. We knew that there was that place with a hill, and there is actually that stone with the seven suns on it. It's and I was like, holy shit! And we found it.
Oh,
It was terrible weather, it was raining all
Surprise.
the time. Yeah. And it was kind of strange being there because you were creating that concept albums and
I,
singing about mythology, and you have a personal connection to that story, and then you're
I
standing there
completely
in front
understand
of
what you
that.
mean.
I was like, wow.
That happened to me also with
Yeah,
some places that I've been talking about, and then having the possibility of being there, and it's like, yeah, that sensation is like you
it
feel the
is.
connection that
It's
it's almost like you have been there before, even you haven't.
yeah, yeah. You feel like a connection, and
Yeah,
it seems like the story you've created by using that, elements from the mythology is coming to life. It's
absolutely.
something real. You can, because usually these are tales or stuff like that, so you have to use your imagination and stuff like that. But in this case, I was standing in front of that huge stone with that suns, and you could also see that suns. And it wasn't like something like a museum. It was like a
Yeah,
public place. Everybody could, walk on this hill and just have a look, but nobody
nothing
was
like
interested in.
that is you have to pay to get there or anything.
No, no.
You know, like
There were,
Stonehenge, for example. You
yes,
cannot
yes,
access
yeah,
there if you don't pay, and you go to the
yeah,
to
exactly.
the exposition and everything.
There were that kind of places. These are the graves, which were the hills, and some of them were like, yeah, you have to pay and just check it out for tourists. But this stone was, free access for everyone. I mean, it wasn't even spectacular. It was just a piece of, piece of land, a small hill, and a stone. But for us, stupid Germans, it was like, wow.
Well, but that actually feels more real that when you have like the whole
Yeah.
scene created for tourist attraction and everything like that.
Mm,
When it's
exactly.
yeah, it's just there. Go and check it. Feels
Yeah.
like more real, maybe.
That's yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But
That's pretty cool.
definitely,
Yeah.
we should make some kind of a show together in the Highlands somehow.
That would be awesome. I remember we played in Scotland
Did
for
you
the
actually?
first time. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
actually?
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't in the Highlands. That was Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Edinburgh, and I was I wasn't really sure if I'm happy about it or not, because the thing is, we use this influence in our music, but we are Germans, and I don't know if I would be happy to see some, I don't know, Mexican guys playing Bavarian music in Germany. So that kind of sometimes can feel a little bit strange, or have a strange, effect. But
Mm,
the thing is, we played there and we performed our song called Dead Man's Real,
yep.
which has
Yeah. Loch
that middle
Lomond.
part with Loch Lomond, yeah. And when we started to play this, people were
I
freaking
imagine
out.
they're
They were like,
singing and everything.
yeah, they were all sing along with us, and I was like, wow, I didn't expect that, because sometimes it can be cheesy when Germans come over to your country and perform your music, your
Well,
traditional music.
imagine for us
But
being
they really,
originally from Argentina, and I
mm,
think at this point maybe we have played like about 20 shows in Scotland so far, and
really,
every time
jeez,
it was like amazing. Every time, everywhere we have played in different cities. Even in the
yes,
Highlands, we have played in Inverness once.
really,
Yeah, Inverness.
wow,
We have played Aberdeen. It's not in the Highlands, but it's in the north
mm,
east. Yeah, many times in Edinburgh, and Glasgow, and every time is amazing. And people,
that's
it's like,
cool.
yeah, they are somehow like how come you come with this in here? You're from South America, and that,
Yeah,
but they don't do it in a bad way. Just they do it
no,
like they are amazed by that, you know. But
they're amazed.
something
There's still appreciation.
you know the thing is that not many people may know this, but Argentina actually is a country that is very connected with Europe because of all the
Hmm.
immigration. It's not like other
Mm,
countries in South America, like it might be, I don't know, Peru or countries like that.
mm,
Argentina is basically the cities and everything were built by European immigrants,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
for example, the first football teams in Argentina, they were like Scottish teams. They were like
Really?
all the players were from Scotland, yeah, because of they went there to buy to build the train tracks, you know, a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
Scottish immigrants, and they start. This was like in the 19th century, and they start there wasn't football there yet, and they broke the football,
Brought it over.
and
Yeah. Okay.
they found the first clubs and everything, and even the first clubs that the first in the first tournament they have all English names because they were Scottish and English also maybe,
Yeah.
and so actually there's a big connection between, and there's
That's cool.
a schools with the Scottish names, and yeah, and also there's a lot of German immigration. The town where I have lived all my life is we have like I think two German schools, and
Okay.
there was a club called Club Alemán, which is a German club. That's the name, like a sport club.
Really?
So you
Okay.
can see how all the
That's funny.
connection between Europe and Argentina is
Mm.
actually very strong.
Mm. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, talking about that music thing, because you're from Argentina, we're from Germany. I think it's not necessary about, limitation because you're not from a country. That doesn't mean that you cannot create with that source your own story and turn it
Absolutely.
into something very cool. So, and I think this is the same with music, not only with the concepts and not only about instruments like using bagpipes, but only with music genres. I'm not that kind of fan of music genres because people are asking you, oh, what kind of music do you make? I mean, I love music, no matter if it's how you call it. I mean, and this is the same thing with that origin thing, where
Yeah,
you come from,
yeah.
if you're able. Or,
A couple of times, like not many times, we have had that. Like, oh, why are you playing this style? This is
mm,
not even from your country. Like from
yes,
other bands, and it's like, okay,
yeah, I know
you're playing heavy metal. That's from England, so started with.
exactly.
So only by playing like traditional heavy metal, you're not playing the music of
Uh,
your country either. That was created in
Stupid.
England, so
That's it. That's it. I mean, same here. I mean, people are asking us sometimes, like, why don't you sing in German like other bands do? Like
yeah,
Equilibrium, for example. Why are you doing that Irish thing? You're not even from Ireland. But I don't care. This is
yeah,
something
it's what
I
I like.
use
So what?
for. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It gives me some inspiration, and then it's good. Interesting
Absolutely.
topics of connections. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you,
that's
so
true.
York,
Yeah, I know about Argentina. About Argentina because I was studying the newer part of history. So I know after the Second World War, there were like a lot of
oh yeah,
immigrants also that were going to
I
Argentina.
I I know, yeah, all of that, and there was like big characters going there after the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. After some criminals, as well.
even that there's like a big chance that the
Still
big
alive?
boss was no, well, of course not still alive, but that
Okay.
definitely was there.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Jeez.
there's like a
Funny fact. Yeah.
very strong evidence and witness and everything. Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Um, but
Yes.
I'm talking about that. I was gonna ask you. You haven't been to Argentina, but you have been to Brazil, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
twice. That's
twice
the
actually.
only. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we have a connection to the Torhammer Festival.
Yep. Yeah, I know the guys.
The promoter,
Yeah.
he's a good friend of us, and he he was into Suidakra's music a couple of years ago. Tried to bring us over, but it's same problem as always. Traveling is expensive. But then all of a sudden, the festival grow up a little bit, and then he was able to afford it, and so we did it. But that was actually the only South American country we
Yeah.
went to in the
Maybe
past,
that's what you should. Maybe
unfortunately.
it will be good to if you can for the future, who knows when, like if you can do it again to Brazil, maybe getting some promoters to do at least one or
Yeah,
two
to
countries
connect
more.
it. Yes, yes, to combine it and connect it. Because I know, I mean, we had some releases over there, and I know from the comments and messages and stuff like that, and pictures that there are some fans over there in some countries,
Yes.
Argentina, Colombia, and Mexico,
You know, the folk metal
Mexico.
scene in Argentina was growing a lot in the last years.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, like
Oh,
many bands have been there already. From even In Extremo was in Argentina, like many years
Jesus,
ago.
really?
Yeah, in 2000.
Okay.
Actually, it was like many years ago, and we've been the support act. It was our second show ever.
Okay.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow. You're
It was
lucky. That's cool.
2006, 2007, maybe 2007, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was.
But right? You live now in Finland, right?
I live in Finland. Yeah,
Ah,
but
okay. So
you know
do you
what?
miss Argentina?
No, not really.
Not really. Okay.
Now you know what the thing is. I I like my country. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
country and everything, but once you get to know how things work, not only in Europe but in
Mm.
a country like Finland, that everything
Yeah.
is like, you know what was one of the main things that is like a huge change is the how safe it is here
Okay.
in Europe in
Uh,
general. In Europe in general,
mm.
it's a sensation that unfortunately you cannot have in. I mean, I've been living
Mm.
almost all my life in Argentina and nothing happened to me, but I
Mm.
unfortunately I mean, not fortunately, I'm just an exception. It's like
Yeah.
it's not very safe,
Okay.
unfortunately. Yeah. So
Yeah, I heard that
yeah,
before.
and in Brazil also, I've been in Brazil a few times. Nothing
Hmm.
happened, but I know also that there's a lot of unsafety and things
There's
like that.
there's a, there's still a possibility that something can happen. Yeah.
Mm.
These are that kind of experiences you make on tours. The strange thing was when we were touring in the States. Every time we performed in Detroit, it was really really unsafe. So we were not even able to
Uh-huh.
leave the tour bus. So you have to stay in the tour bus or be in the venue. So these
Not
were the
around
two
at all.
options, but you were not able to, because they can they can just shut you or rob you or whatever. It's a really unsafe city, and this is something you are not familiar with when you're from Europe.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
kind of
Yeah.
circumstances and that kind of environment you're in. So it's pretty hard
Another thing that I
sometimes.
was remembering that we have in common that we both bands have a cover Skyclad.
Ah,
Yeah.
which song did you cover?
And the first album we
Which
did
one was it?
Spinning Jenny.
Ah, that's
Yeah, but
awesome. I love Skyclad.
we have played like few covers a few times. Not lately, but in the beginning of the band we have played like few different songs live, but in studio only that one.
I mean, Skyclad was a very very huge influence back in the time,
Yeah.
because our guitarist, singer, and our bassist were huge Skyclad fans, and our guitarist, who was also responsible for the lyrics, he was a huge fan of the way of Martin Walker's
The way of writing,
lyrics.
that kind
Yes,
of
it was very
poetry scene and
lyric.
playing
Yes, it
with the
was so.
words and
Yes,
yeah,
he loved it, and that was very very inspiring thing for us. And
absolutely.
when he came out, he was actually the one who came up with the idea of covering Skyclad, because I was much more into Blind Guardian,
Mm.
not that much Skyclad. And when he just came up with the idea, I just listened to their stuff much much more, and I was after that I was really into their music, and we were also happy to perform with them. Unfortunately, without Martin Walker. But when we were performing at Wacken, Martin was there with his band Sabaton,
Yeah,
and he
Sabbath,
was listening.
Sabbath.
Sabbath, yes.
Uh,
Then Sabaton. Oh, Jesus, totally different band and different genre. No, but Sabbath, yes. And he was in backstage and was watching our show on the screen, and we were performing the One Piece puzzle.
mm,
And after that, he came up to us and said, "Wow, that was awesome! And next time, our paths cross. Let's do that cover version, and I do the vocals." Which of course would be awesome, but that never happened again. That
mm.
we played on the same festival or whatever. Yes, but cool thing. I mean,
You know what?
Skyclad are
We
very
actually
very cool.
have
And
played also a few times with them.
yeah,
Maybe you don't know this, but in 2009, we brought Martin to Argentina, and
really,
yes, Skiltron as a backing band, and
yeah,
we were playing like a whole set of Skyclan songs there. We did a show like a
that's
special.
awesome. Wow, that must be a very awesome experience.
Yeah, it was amazing at the time.
He seems to be a very cool guy, very very nice person. That's pretty awesome. To be honest, I never understood why Skyclad were not bigger than they are in the business.
That's yeah, very
It's
underrated.
it's a
That's
totally mystery
yeah.
for me.
At some point, they were like, well, as big as a underground metal band can be, but in Germany they were like very popular in the mid to late 90s. They were
Yes.
touring a lot, and they were
Yeah.
even their last album with Martin. It was released by
Mm.
Nuclear Blast. So
Really? Okay.
yeah, Folkeman. At that time, they maybe I don't know. It was that, but
I think if they would start with the music a few years later, when this whole
mm,
folk pagan thing came up, they would be probably successful or
yeah.
much more success, because the thing is, they were like doing the thing right before this whole trend came up.
Yeah, so
It's
absolutely
it, yeah,
pioneers.
the same. I mean, I wouldn't call us pioneers, but we had the same struggles and issues with Suidakra when we started in the 90s, and we had this Irish folk influence. Nobody could say, okay, you guys are making that kind of music. So people were like irritated. What's that? Is it melodic death metal, or is it black metal, or is it folk metal, or what is
Yeah,
it?
but
So
that's another thing that when people say, what do you call your music? What you are you folk metal, Celtic metal? It's like I don't what's the matter? Like it is what it is,
yeah,
and okay, you have to label it somehow so people understand what's about at first.
yeah.
Like okay, it's part of this genre. But even if you say folk metal, I don't know. If
What is
people
folk
can
metal?
consider Suidakra folk metal, but also Fintroll is folk metal, and it's
Yes.
completely different thing.
Completely
You know?
different thing, yes. So yeah, that's the thing. What is folk metal? The funny thing is, when I discovered Amon Amarth or Amon Amarth,
Mm-hmm.
back in the 90s, even before they were signed by Metal Blade Records, I remember I was ordering their mini CD on a Singapore label.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody knew them back then. And it was a mini CD with, I don't know, 4 or 5 tracks. And back in the days when I was listening to it, I would never came up with the idea to call them Viking metal, because they sounded for me, and they were always for me, a
Yeah,
melodic
I
death,
know what you mean.
Sweden death
That's
metal
funny
band.
when some people call a band like like Viking metal just because of the lyrics, because the music has nothing to do with that.
No, nothing. There's not even one folky melody. It's I mean, it is melodic, but in a traditional Sweden melodic death metal style. And this is what
It's
they
like
are.
also the case of Unleashed.
Yeah,
Like it's a
old school
death
death metal
metal,
band
and
for
it's
me.
like no, it's Viking metal because they talk about Vikings and
Nope,
Nordic mythology. No.
nope. This is an old
So
school. I was listening to
is
the
it
albums.
Nile? Is it Egyptian metal? Because they talk about
No,
Egypt and
it's not.
everything.
Nope, it's death metal for me.
That's what I mean.
I mean, the thing is how you label this. I mean, if you put the focus on the lyrics and then you label the band, okay. But we are talking about the music, and the music is like the thing you hear. For me, this is my opinion. And if it's melodic death metal, then it's melodic death metal. And even if you sing about pizza or pasta or whatever, it's not pizza metal, it's melodic death metal.
That will be a good. Maybe that will be a good song
Subgenre.
for Ailstorm. I wouldn't be surprised if they say pizza metal or something like that.
Nothing would surprise me with Ailstorm.
But okay, my friend, I think we have a very good, interesting chatting. At least for me, I have enjoyed.
Yeah, it was cool, and we still have like 9 viewers.
Yeah,
Hello, Skiltron, Paul Stevenson. Okay.
Yeah, we also are putting all these things on YouTube later on next week at some point.
Cool.
So it's funny when sometimes when I put on YouTube, like of course not live, and people still are sending like, "Hey, hello!" They see it's live at that moment.
Okay.
But
cool.
yeah.
So maybe we record some extra interaction, like we are just reading the comments from YouTube. Oh, there's a new YouTube comment. Okay, I skipped that.
Extra stuff.
Thank you, guys. Sasha. Hey, Sasha. Greetings. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for being
also,
here.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and hope to meet you again on tour somewhere.
I hope our ways are gonna meet us again at some point. We are gonna be even festival together or touring together. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Sure.
But if it's the first time, it will be amazing.
You know what we should do next time when we were performing together? Let's do a Skiltron cover together.
Why not?
That would be awesome, because you did it, we did it.
Yeah.
So maybe we are fortunate, and maybe Martin will be on this festival.
We can make like a mix of man and maybe playing one of your songs with the bagpipes and.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That was the kind of thing I was missing on the Japan tour, because the schedule was very tight.
Yeah.
You wanted to do some sightseeing, and so we were always on the run, and things like that, we're not able to do, because when you're playing a tour in a tour bus, you have a lot of time, so you can just work on that kind of collaborations. But maybe next time, who knows?
Definitely.
So, and thanks to everybody that was watching us.
Yeah, and there's like many. Even if you see these states on YouTube, and even after a few days and everything, people keep commenting because they watch it later. Not everybody can watch it when we are live. So, yep.
Oh, a friend of mine. Said, because I started a project with him, called Laced from Afar. He's called us Niels, and he was the guy I was talking about back in the days that he was a huge Skiltron fan. He and the guitarist, and he said in German, if we do a Skiltron cover version, he would he would join
Absolutely.
us. So, of course. That would be awesome, Niels. See you on tour. Okay,
Absolutely.
man.
We have a deal for next time.
Exactly. Deal.
Okay, man.
It was a pleasure, man.
Thank you, and everybody, thank you for watching, and wherever you're watching from, good night, good morning, good nachen, and whatever.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, man. That was cool, man.